So I think every second grader in there is just born knowing if there's too much of something, it's just not
Hmm.
cool, right?
Hmm.
That's just
Right.
reality.
Right.
It's
I
the
got
most
you.
simplistic idea out there, and yet we then spend decades trying so hard to unlearn that. We introduce terms like D2C versus wholesale, global
Yep.
versus not, adjacencies, diffusion product. Like, no, if your brand is too overstretched and it doesn't have any segmentation, at some point you're going to sell things that's going to ruin and deteriorate the quality of your brand. And there's different ways to do it. If you have a wholesale partnership, you can stretch your payment terms. And so you're selling the same product, but you're getting revenues a little bit later, or the sorry, revenues are happening. You're getting cash a little bit later. So that's one way in try and stretch and to convince yourself you're selling things when you're not. If you don't and you just have your own product, you can mark it down. So we'll use your juicing sales. I can just say, I want to
Yep.
sell whatever pair of pants. I'm going to mark them down 25%. I've never done that before. If Lululemon, I believe Lululemon could triple their business next year if they took their Align leggings and their ABC pants down to $40, and then they would die the year after that. But in that one
Yep.
year, they would grow tremendously. So that's the second way. A third way is you go lower income or entry level, lower price product. So think Burberry and their scarf a long time ago, right? There's a lot of things where we see question whether Lulu's doing it with their belt bag. So you're not actually reducing the price of your product, but you're introducing a lower price product that can over distribute. CK1, right? So Calvin says you watch that CK logo go much further than it would go with what they traditionally sell, but you're not discounting it, but you are, right? You're stretching the brand. And very politely at the beginning said to me, "You're everywhere." Deep, like in my heart, I cried when I heard that, right? Because that means I'm not scarce. And so there's a part of it like you want to maintain, you want to not
Right.
stress too far. Like I'm falling prey to the same thing, I guess, and chasing my own incremental sweater. That's what we do as humans. We're not hardwired to stop. But sometimes take the reverse of that sweater conversation. You work on elevating your brand and you rewind and you sell fewer sweaters, and all of a sudden you can charge more for them. So you walk into econ, I don't know if it's 101 or 1012, who knows? Again, we'll stick with the 125% of my time that I gave you before. Price elasticity is the term. And so if you have the wherewithal, which is hard, it's so I understand this. It's so easy for me to say because all I'm doing is typing or writing on my clipboard, but it's much harder to do. But we've seen it. We've seen it happen a lot. And you know what? During COVID, L Brands, when they owned Victoria's Secret, Bath and Body Works, was I think I'm going to throw out numbers. I don't know if they're right, but I think the seventh and fourth best stock in the S&P. So someone fact check me, please, and write
Hmm.
to me and tell me that I'm wrong. Uh, the revenues were down. Their operating profit dollars were up. And so it's this idea that there are times where it's hard to believe that revenues are everything, right? We talk about you want to grow or die. I mean, like everyone talks about revenues, but I think revenues are a lagging indicator, not a leading indicator. I think the quality of sale will always, always, always inflect before the actual sale, good and bad. I think you'll watch the margins tip before the revenues tip because you're forcing something. And I think when a business on the upturn, I think Bath and Body Works, we'll see its margins improve and stabilize before its revenues follow. And so that's what I try to watch. I try to watch for quality of sale changes because I think they will always herald the revenue change.